Hello and welcome to Amazing Jessy Show. Today is the last day of Get Inspired for the Amazing Jessy Summer Flash. And what a week it has been. If we look back on Monday when we had Reverend Funke Dechibero who inspired us on making that happen and not letting who we were or who we are affect who we want to be in life. And then on Wednesday, we had Deaconess Esther who inspired us on doing life big and to know that with God, all things are possible, and that we need to put ourselves into what we do. We need to be enthusiastic and we need to be different. And then on Thursday, we had Reverend Chuka Ogukwe, who told us why people fail, and that you only fail if you stop, and your purpose is in Christ. So all in all, this whole week has been nothing short of amazing, and it's just been a lovely 2-week experience. I just can't wait until next year when I do something even more amazing. So I said today's the last day of Get Inspired for Amazing Jessy Summer Flash. And today I have two very, very special guests who will be talking on what mothers need from their children and what children need from their parents, which is also the topic of one of the books I have written. And just to recap a little bit on this book, when you first open this book, the first thing you'll see is, if you are a parent reading this book, I want you to read it with an open mind because this book will help you know what your child really wants from you. And if you already know it, it will remind you again. And then you have the table of content with all the chapters. Chapter 1 would be, we need our parents to listen to us. And then chapter 2 is understand and know us. Chapter 3, we need our parents for guidance. Chapter 4, we need our parents to trust and have faith in us. Chapter 5, every child wants to be corrected with love and not with a shout. Chapter 6, every child wants their birthdays to be remembered and celebrated as much as possible. Chapter 7, every child wants to know that their parents love them. They want to feel important. And then when I was looking through this book, I found a part that really caught my attention for an important reason. It says, our parents want us to trust them with everything they do. But when we try and do something ourselves, it appears to be wrong. We know you want us to keep us, we know you want to keep us, we know you want us to be safe. But covering us from the world is equally destructive. Then it goes further to say, however, I still think children need to earn that trust. That's keep good grades in school, be polite, clean the house. Overall, what I'm saying is when you give respect, you get respect. When you trust, you get trust. Just give and it will come back to you. What goes around comes around. So parents, if you trust your children, you will also earn their trust. Dear parents, trust us, have faith in us, and we will not disappoint you. You might be wondering, why did this catch my attention? Well, it caught my attention because even though I'm talking about what children need from their parents and how we want our parents to trust us, I still go further to say, if we want trust, we need to let them trust us. So what I really like about this book is that it really balances things. It doesn't just say, oh, this is all the things that children need, but it also says what children need to do to get what they need from their parents. And that's one thing I really love from this book. So you can get this book, What Children Need from Their Parents, on Amazon by Jessica Ogukwe. So as I said, I have two very special guests today, one of which will be talking on what mothers need from their parents, from their children, and then the other will be talking on what children need from their parents. So my first very special guest is Pastor Mrs. Bolanye Ola Oye. And my second very, very special guest, which happens to be my cousin from the United States, is Precious Christopher. So can you please welcome one of my very, very special guests. How are you both doing?
Good.
Well, I'm going to start with our pastor here. How are you doing, Pastor?
I'm good, thank you.
I just want to, before we start, I just would like you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh, my name is Bolanle Olaoye. I'm married and I'm privileged to be a co-pastor in Redeemed Christian Church of God, Cornerstone Parish too. And I run a women conference called Discovering Women Conference. And I have 3 good boys. And I think that's all.
Thank you very much. And then Precious, could you please tell us a bit more about yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Precious. My name is Precious Christopher. I'm 17 years old, turning 18. I'm not married.
Obviously.
My mom and dad are pastors, and I'm just excited to be here.
And a really exciting thing about yourself, where do you live?
America.
Yeah. Also, one thing I'm wondering, what time is it over there? Because I always forget.
It's 2.
Oh, well, it's 7 here in Ireland, so yeah, it's getting pretty dark. So before we start, I just want to ask you guys a little bit about, the whole quarantine situation that's going on. So Matt, how has this quarantine been for you as a pastor, as a mother, as a wife, all around? How has the whole quarantine been for you?
Honestly, I can't wait for the kids to go back to school. It's been good anyway. Yeah, I can't wait for the kids to go back. I can't homeschool anymore. I don't think I'm interested in that again. But it's been very good. Like I've been educating myself. I've been trying to take the opportunity to do a lot. I'll be educating myself, do a lot of training, trying to upgrade myself. Because there's no point where at home and there's so much to do online. So I'm just trying to, train myself, upgrade myself for what I want to do next.
Oh, that's very good. And you said
as well, yeah.
Yeah, you said you're trying to upgrade yourself. So what kind of things do you think you've learned this whole quarantine period?
I've done a lot of trainings, mostly on social media, because I think that's where the world is going now. The world is a global village. Everything is going to be online very soon. The pandemic has taught us that we need to know now that the church is no more the four corners of the building where we go to. So there's so much to be done online. So, and as in my own age group, I'm not in your age group, you understand, I need to learn a lot. So I've been training so much on what to do on social media. I've been trying to equip myself on so many things because I think I want to go to the next level of my life. I don't want to remain on this same level. Yeah. So I'm doing so much on that for myself now.
Yeah, and for me, I don't think it's about the age group I'm in, because I wouldn't say I'm very good with technology either. So I'm trying to upgrade myself on that too. And then and then the last question about quarantine, what do you think is one life lesson you've learned from this whole experience?
Oh my God, this has taught us that number one, God is in control. He's in charge of everything. So it has changed everybody's mindset. Nobody ever believed that there will be a day that all of us will be indoor and we can't go out. Do you understand? You can't travel. You can't imagine that this could happen, but this has taught us a great lesson that this life we're living in, it moves around. And God is really the one in charge. And He tells us that everything is changing. The whole world is changing. Things are not going to remain the same way it has been.
Yeah, that's very true. I think that's one good life lesson to learn, that no matter what season, no matter what things happening, that God is always in control.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then over to you, Precious, because I want to get it from two perspectives of the whole thing. How has quarantine been for you as a 17-year-old who is almost 18 and not married?
It's hard because I miss my friends and I miss going out and I miss just doing stuff outside. Being in a house with my parents all day and my siblings all day, it's kind of hard, but it's also productive as well because I'm starting to study more and do things that are pushing towards my career. So yeah.
What's your career?
Well, I want to eventually go to med school and then I want to become a neurosurgeon. So
a neurosurgeon. Wow, that's always been something scary for me because one, I don't really like blood. Then a brain and all those things. Well, I think that's a really good career path for anybody. So that's really amazing. So what have been some things you would say you have learned during this whole quarantine?
Just not to be afraid and just to remember that, there's this passage that I like memorize because it just reminds me that just to be like that. So it's like for Him, we live, move, and have our being. And just to remember that God is always with us and God's always here. And then no matter what we're scared of, just know that God will preserve us and keep us under His wings.
Yeah, that's very true. And then what is one, wait, you just, sorry. What is one, like some of your hobbies?
Oh, okay. I like to sing. I like to read. I like to write. I like to dance, but I'm not good at it.
So do you think you've learned anything new during this whole quarantine? No?
I like to eat more.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty sure. But since I've been eating more, I've been doing more exercise, so that's
Right.
been for me. So you guys are pretty interesting people, and it's nice to know how quarantine has been for everybody, even around the world, not just in the place we have confined ourselves in. I think that's pretty amazing. So as I said, you guys are here to talk about what mothers need from their children and what children need from their parents. But before that, I'd like to ask you, Ma, it's a question that I've been thinking about, and I think a lot of people might have been thinking about. As a mother, how do you think we should raise a Christian child?
Thank you very much. Like, I will have to go back to your book again to see what you put. And you wrote it there that parents should be open-minded when they are reading this. So I'm going to say the same thing. The kids should be open their hearts for what you're hearing at this moment. Like the first thing is that raising up a godly child is not something you can do by yourself. As a parent, we need to give our children God. And I always say that what you don't have, you can't give it out to somebody else. If you don't have God, if you don't know Jesus Christ, if you don't have him, you can't give it out to your children. So it is very important as parents, not first thing, we have to give to our children what we have. Because when you give it to them, in the process, they begin to find God themselves. And these are, I say it all the time because it happened to me, like you said, I'm a pastor by God's grace. I remember one day where I was talking with my children, the boys, and we're just chatting, we're having a talk in the house, and I asked them that, why do you guys go to church? And you won't believe, they told me, they said, we go to church because you are a pastor. And it was like, and that really touched me so much. And that really, and I had to talk to myself. So we now decided to talk to them. But I found that in the process, give what you have to them. And in the process, when they are following you to church, when they are believing in your own God, they're going to find God themselves. Because it is very important a child find God, him or herself. Because the child cannot depend on your own God. They need to find God themselves, which is very, very important. And, like I said, we need to do that. We must give them what we have, what you have. And I look at it as well, in this season, the children we're raising is different from the way we were raised up. Unfortunately, I'm going to say on behalf of all the mothers that we're very sorry to the children because I've seen so many things online. I've talked to so many children, the young ones, what they say, we're very sorry. Maybe the way we'll be raising you up, you don't like it. But just bear with us and just be a little patient with us. We're getting there. Like myself as a mother, I'm getting there. I have to change a lot of things. I have to change my thinking. I have to attend training. I have to go to so many places, to know how to raise a child in this present generation. Because it's different from the way I was raised. The way I was raised up, if your mom says something, you don't query them. You don't say no. Why? But it's so common now. They're going to ask you, why should I do this? Why must I? The question is there. And many of us, because we don't know, we're still talking, oh, you must not ask me questions, you must not query me, you must not. So that's number one. And secondly, parents need to be very transparent. And we should be the mirror the children are seeing. It should be that, when we're growing up, it's like, do what I say, don't do what I do. But now is do what I do. Because I remember several times we tell the children, okay, don't bring your food to the sitting room. If I bring a cup of water inside, my kids are going to say, Mommy, why are you doing this? Because you've told us not to do. So as parents, we need to be very, very transparent. We need to, we need to be an example. We need to be the mirror that the children see. They must see us as mirror. Like I said earlier, that you cannot do anything without God. But, I will just go into what mothers need from the children. Yeah. What they need, because, it's so, when we bring in the young ones, they're going to tell us a lot. But like I said earlier on, just be patient with us. We ourselves, we know we're getting there, and definitely we will get there. So as mothers, the greatest thing in life is love. We love our children so much, so we want them to love us back. I'll tell you, as an African mom, I'm going to talk on my own side. We love our children so much. Our children are our strength. If you find an African mom, their children, they are our own strength. So, and love can produce so many things. We want the children to listen to us as well, as parents. Be patient with us. Understand that we're not brought up the way you guys are. Where you know our own training is different from this present generation. So be patient with your parents. Listen to them. Hear their own side of the view. Don't just think because, oh, you know, because it's so common when young ones go at what my friend is saying, everybody wants to, you know, but just listen to your parents. Understand where they're coming from. We're coming from a place, and you know, we're putting in every effort to make sure that we give you the best. So, like, we want to produce every parents want to have a child that can respect. And when I talk about respect, I'm not talking about the way the African culture that you need to go on your knees, you need to do this. That's not what I'm really talking about. Because most times, I remember when I was in the college and some ladies come along, when we meet in the hallway and they're greeting me. I tell them, just say hello, auntie, I'm okay with that. You understand? Just say me hello, auntie, I'm okay. But we want children that can respect the authority. I've been on a Dublin bus sometimes. There was a time I was in Dublin bus, and you know, usually on the bus, there's always the front row is given to the elderly, and you see young ones sitting there, and the driver, somebody is telling them this seat is reserved, and they don't listen. That means the child is not showing respect. We want the children to respect the people ahead of them, because when you learn respect, it's going to help you in future. When you learn respect, it's going to help you in places of work. I have seen so many arguments. I've seen so many things that happen now in workplaces because the young generation don't want to respect. I have one example. I read something online. It was a real life story. There's a big celebrity somewhere in Africa. So the guy said he went out one day for a walk, and as he went out, he met a woman and the two daughters. He greeted the woman. The daughters did not greet him back. So on their way coming back, he met the woman again, and the woman approached the celebrity and said, "Oh, sorry, is this your name? You're this. My two children are looking for work." And the man turned to him and said, "When you were going, ma, I greeted you, you answered me, but your children did not answer me." And they lost that opportunity because of that single respect. Do you understand? Because, you know, the respect is getting out of the roof in this generation. It's going out of the roof. And when you respect yourself, you respect other people. There's something I was watching online with my husband yesterday. There was a fight that broke out in Dublin. This generation don't respect the authority. They don't respect the authority. They don't, you know, the respect is gone out of the roof. And, you know, we want people to respect the society, respect the law, respect the authority. Family, respect the family value as well. The family value is gone out of the roof. You know, those are the kind of things the parents want from their kids. Like the way you're sitting here now, if you go out, everybody knows you as Reverend Chuka's daughter, yes or no? If you do anything, you know, you're representing the family name as well, isn't it? So it's very important to us. And it's very important to everybody. The family name is very important. It's something that you need to keep. You need to respect it. You need to value it. You know, those are the kind of things. It's not that parents don't want to, but parents love their children. We want the best for them. And there's one other thing I'm going to chip in as well. I want this present generation to appreciate mothers. Appreciate your parents. We're trying, we're doing what we can do. We might not be, in quotes, the celebrity you're looking there. We might not be able to give you all that you want, but we're trying our best. It takes somebody that wants the best for the child to leave Africa and come down to Europe. Do you understand where I'm coming from? You leave your family, you leave everything. You left everything because you want the best for your child. So most times when you see parents talking, it's not because we want to talk or because we want to lash out or because we want to shout, but we want the best for our kids. We want them we want the best. We want them, you know, I want this generation to learn how to appreciate their parents, appreciate them for the little things. It goes a very long way. It goes a long way. Parents are working very hard. Some parents are on 2 jobs just to keep the home front. And I remember I'm going to stop here with this so that she can come in as well, because I know it's going to be a long conversation. At this last one, I remember I went for a training in my children's school, and they were training us on the safety on internet for the young ones. And the lady that took us, after all, she wrapped up and she told us that she could remember, and she was talking about, I think, her eldest child, the eldest child. The boy was training to be a technician, yeah. And I remember when they were going, she said when they were going for the training, for the industrial training or something like that, they have to do a gather vetting, to check your character, to check everything about you. And the boys, I think in a class of 30 people, if I can remember very well, only 2 people came out very well. Only 2 people were vetted, were able to go on that training for the job. And she turned to us and said, the boy came back home and was telling the mother, thank you for all the training you've given unto me. I'm going to leave us with this. There is no mother or there is no father that doesn't want the best for the child. Bear with us, be patient with us, and when you do that, you're going to get the best. Like this case I'm telling you about, the boy had to come back home. He said he didn't understand all this, and this is an Irish girl I'm talking about. Out of 30 people in the class, I think about 3 or 5, I can't really remember, were vetted because, all this value is gone out. In the young age, you go out with your friends. You want to do what they're doing. You just want to behave the same way. I don't think any mother wants the guards to come knocking on your door and tell you that your child has become a nuisance in the society. No parents wants that. So we want you to keep that value. We want you to respect yourself, respect the authority, respect the law of the land. Thank you very much. So maybe when she comes up, we can something. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. That's actually very refreshing because it's nice to know when you're a person who has talked a lot on what children need from their parents. It's really nice to know the other side of it and what parents do need from their children. So thank you very much, ma'am. And before I go into the questions about everything, let's hear what Precious has to say about what children need from their parents. So go ahead.
Okay, so I believe that children need so they need you to be understanding because we're growing up and we're going to make mistakes and not everything is going to come easy to us, but you should still understand that we're still good people and that you're raising us right. Second, I think children need from their parents is not to be so judgmental. Like if I want to share my day with you and what's happening at school, I don't need you to jump in and tell me how to do it right, or if I'm doing something wrong, or if I'm not doing it the way you think it should be handled. I just need you to listen. That's what I need you. That's why I came to you. I want you to listen to me. Secondly, I think that what children don't need from the parents is to be compared to others because we're our own people and we have our own self-value, and other people are great in their own way, but we're great in our way too.
Yeah.
I think that children need for their parents to show appreciation, not that they don't do stuff for us, but we do things for them and we wanted to be appreciated too, and to be shown that we're doing a good job and that we should keep going down this route. I also think that children need, it's not for total freedom, but some leeway. There's certain things that we shouldn't do, but there's certain things that you should allow us to do, because if we never get out there and do our own thing, how are we gonna know if it's wrong or not? We should be allowed to make our own mistakes and not have our parents be cuddling us. I'm not gonna do the same things I was doing when I was 10 because I'm 8 years older now. I should be able to do different things by myself without having somebody cuddling me and stuff. I also want I want parents to know that they should treat all of their children the same, not have one child seem as though they're over the other child, that we all should be treated as equals and that nobody is better than the other person. Mm-hmm. I also think that we need to be loved, very much loved, because love is the biggest thing in the world, and that if there's no love between us, then it's there's no relationship. I also believe that communication is key, because communication is what bonds us, and if there's no bond between us, then we can do our own thing and the parents are just there for there.
Yeah. Is that what you have? Well, thank you very, very much, the both of you. That was actually really nice to hear from both sides. And, hearing Precious is because it really shows that children know, all children know what they need from their parents, because it's some things that I would have written in my book that she's saying. So it shows that children are the same, and they know that children all need this. It's not all, children need the same thing, but children all together need what they need from their parents, and all children know that. So I think it's great to hear it from another person and hear another perspective of it. It's very great. So we're going to go into some questions, which because hearing both sides, some of it might be the same and some of it might be contradicting. So I would like to know a bit more in depth about that. So the first question I have is a bit of a both side thing. And I would like both of you guys to answer. So, say in an example where there's a child who's trying to say something, but is not expressing it in the right way and it comes off as rude. Would you think the child is at fault for not expressing it the right way, or it's the parent for not understanding the child? So, ma'am, could you go first?
Okay, sometimes we need to understand the mood of our children. Because sometimes when children are trying to get your attention and you're not giving it to them, they can go any extra length. They can do anything to get attention. This we do ourselves. Like if I want my husband to get my attention, I know I can go to any length. So sometimes you need to understand whether they are rude or maybe their mood, or maybe they are frustrated, they're coming from somewhere and something is not, something is on them, they're not happy. And they are coming home and you're like, the child is saying something, you're not listening to them. So I believe for myself, you need to get the mood of your child, or maybe if it's another person's child, it depends. Maybe the child is just like that. And you can't, if it's not your child and you can't change the child, just carry along and keep praying for the child, even though it's your child, because, like, let's say, for instance, when my eldest was very young, he has autism. And if people see him outside, and when he's talking, before he can express himself and everything, people see him to be very rude. But only my close friends knew what he was going through. So we need to understand them, get the mood, know what is wrong, because it's not all the time they are rude. Because sometimes they are just trying to get attention and which you're not giving to them.
So would you say it's for the parents to understand their child more?
Yeah, you need to, because like sometimes some children are rude, you should know that. But maybe somebody that is in between, let's say for instance, I'm meeting you for the first time, and I came into your house, maybe something as you'll be trying to get your mom's attention, you're getting something. And she said, oh, you know the way we parents, we do, somebody is at home, say, oh, go. And you can just give out at that moment. I can conclude and say, this is a rude child, which I don't know what was going on in the house at the moment. So understand their mood, know who they are before you jump into your own conclusion.
Yeah. And Precious, what is your side of that?
I agree with what she said, but at the same time, I think the child should know how to speak to their parents, because you've been around them for a long time. And you know what goes and what doesn't go with them. And if you say something in a manner that sounds rude, you should know how your parent is going to react. But at the same time, that's how we talk with our friends. So maybe if we talk to our parents the way we talk with our friends, it might come off as, oh, we're disrespecting them, or we're rude. Yeah. Like, for example, my brother told my dad, what do you mean? But my dad took it as like, oh, why are you questioning me? Oh, why are you being so rude? But my brother was like, no, I don't understand what you're saying. What do you mean? But the way he sounded, it kind of sounded rude. Yeah. That's how he talks. So
yeah, I get that. Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure that happens almost everywhere, where the child is misunderstood because that's the way they speak other places. I know one of my brothers, he's always telling me, why do you speak differently to different people? Because I see that different people react to the way you speak differently. So I think also for the child, they need to understand who they're talking to before they start talking. So I think you're right, it does go both ways. So my next question is, which is one I've been always wondering personally, what is the core foundation of a good relationship between a child and their parent? So, like, what do you think is the main thing they need to have a good relationship? Matt, can you please go first with that?
I think communication is very important. It's very, like she said as well, it's very, very important. Because if you have a good communication with your parents, the relationship is going to be very solid. And both of you, we need to understand ourselves. Sometimes when you see me with my boys and you see the way, they are talking, and I went out one of them was just hugging me, holding me, and people say, well, who is this? And I say, this is my child. The communication aspect is very important. The values, the family value that you people have is very important. And as both child and the mother, you need to understand yourself. You need to understand yourself. You need to know where you're coming from. You need to know what you need. So I believe the communication aspect is very, very important in the family. Yeah.
Yeah. And Precious? Is it the same? Well, go ahead.
I think it's communication and trust, because if you don't trust your child to do the right thing, then you'll always be wondering what they're doing and if they know right from wrong. But if you communicate well to them, they should know that what's right and what's wrong and what to do and how to handle every situation that comes their way.
Yeah, so in the end, it's what we need is communication and trust, which is very, very true. And now another question, which is also something I've been wondering very, very much personally. In a conversation between a child and a parent, why do you sometimes, how does a child come off, how is a child supposed to tell their parent something without their parent thinking that the child is just being like rude? So how is the child supposed to say something, would you say? Because say, for example, a child is trying to, for example, there's something that might happen. The child trying to say that their parent is doing something wrong, or the way they're not, something that they know is that their parents not wouldn't see as right. How is a child supposed to tell their parent without coming off as rude? Matt, could you please go?
Oh my God, this is what we get all the time.
Yeah.
I know, maybe, like, will I say maybe because of where we're coming from, when you're asking your parents something and there's a certain way which you have to say it. But like, if there's a good relationship in the home, and like she said, the trust is there, the communication is solid. I don't think there should be any special way that you're going to say something to your parents when you're asking. Like we can't be right all the time. We know that we're not right all the time. But like okay, let's say let me use an example. Let's say for instance, I'm going to use myself as an example. I remember one time after I finished preaching in the church, and we came home, and I can't remember what I did. I'm just trying to put this together. And my son came over to me and said, "Mommy, this was what you said we shouldn't do, and you're doing it." That moment, the way he was asking me, it was like he was, querying me. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. There should be a better, but it's like you're querying me that why should I do this? And I look at it at that moment that no, if you're gonna, I know what I did is wrong, but there should be a better way that you should ask me the question. Because relationship in the home goes a long way. But when the relationship is there and the love is between the family, you're not going to see it that way. But still, like she said, where the way you talk to your friends outside, the way you come back to talk to African aunties and everything is different. So there are some times that the children say some things. The way they ask it, you don't need to query your parents too much. When you're coming to correct them, you should correct them in love. In which, as parents, that is what we do. We correct in love. You should come back to correct your parents in love, to tell them what they've done. You shouldn't be that you're just coming to query them and you're just, standing there and shouting and saying what you've done is wrong. You can't be right. I think that's the way I'm going to put it. There should be, when the relationship is solid, when there's love in the home, you're coming back to correct your mom in love, not to query them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. I'm Precious. There's a way I want to redirect the question to you. I'm wondering, has there ever been times where you are trying to explain something to your parents, but they don't always get it?
Yeah. Like, okay, for instance, if I'm trying to tell them like what happened during school, because I always come home and like just like tell my mom everything and tell her what happened at school and all the interesting stuff. So when I try to tell her like a problem I'm having, and then like she just takes it the other way, and then she'll start telling me stuff, and I'm trying to tell her stuff, and we start talking over each other. And so I know the only way to resolve this issue is to stop and really listen to what my mom is trying to say, and then wait for her to finish, and then like jump in and tell her what I think and stuff like that.
Does that ever go right?
Sometimes no. I just have to stop talking because it's not gonna help by me keep talking and her keep talking and we're just screaming.
I guess, yeah, you're right. And Matt, is there another question? Sorry, I just had them flowing in. Is there a preferred, like a characteristic when you see it in a child, you see it as something amazing? Like a characteristic a child has and you just love that?
Amazing, Jessy. Jessica show. Like one thing I'm going to Like for me, when the child is doing the right thing, like because I'm not talking about academics, but the child is very excellent in what he does. No matter whatever you put your hands on that you're doing, if you're very good at it, the child is very excellent. The child is very helpful. The child is very helpful. The child is respectful. I can maybe I should stop at that. Yeah, I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, I really agree with what you say about the excellence thing. I remember a few days ago in our bishop in one of our devotions, he wrote, the topic was make excellence your standard, so that in whatever you do, make excellence always be what you always reach for. So I think that's an amazing characteristic in anybody. And Precious, I have a few questions for you. One of the first, who is the most strict in your family?
My dad.
You're straight up. Why do you see your dad as strict?
Because he has like a set of rules, and if we even like touch the border of crossing one of those rules, he'll just set us back in place. He's very overprotective and he just likes things his way.
Do you think it's easy to communicate with your dad in that sense, that he's strict and with the rules and all those stuff?
Not really. I don't.
Oh, okay. And then my next question for you is, what do you think you need from your mother exactly? Like specifically from your mother, what thing you think that she needs to give you more of?
Trust, because she likes to she likes to see things from her point of view and doesn't really stop to think how I feel and if I'm hurt or if I'm right, and she just likes to see things from her point of view. So I would like her to trust me more and listen to me more.
And on that, how you say you need your mom to trust you, do you think that your mom can trust you without you ever telling her that? Have you like ever tried to communicate that to her?
No.
So that leads me to another question, Ma. Do you think that sometimes the children are at fault because they never actually tell their parents what they need and what is wrong? Sometimes the children need to talk and stuff like that. Do you think that's also a problem?
Oh yes, it is. It's a very big problem at the moment, and the reason being is because there's so much on the social media that people listen to. Because, like she talked about trust. How do I trust you when you're not talking? You understand? How do I trust you when you're not communicating? You're not talking to me. You're not telling me what you need. We need more of talking. We need more of, sitting down to reason together. That is what we need. We need more of that. Sometimes they just jump into there. Some children just come into listen to me. That is not going to listen to me. No, we want to listen to you guys. We don't want it that we might be very strict. We might not like what we're doing, but we still want to listen to you. Because there should be more of communication and the trust. So if you just come into conclusion and say, Mom is not going to listen because she shouts too much, we're always arguing. But she will. Every mother wants to do that.
Yeah. So I think in the end, if you want your parents to do stuff, you need to tell them and you need to actually communicate with them. And back to you, Precious, which I want this question for both of you, but it's also in different senses. So what do you think brings children closer to their parents? Like what you want to ask a question?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so oh wait, you ready?
She can go first.
Okay. So what do you think that
to go first? Okay, what brings children closer to their mom?
No, for you, I was wondering what brings like parents closer to their children. So it's different sides.
To their children.
Yeah.
Like all what we're saying is just there should be a relationship, even with our God that we're talking about. When you have relationship with somebody and it's a very, very good one, you become very close. You want to see yourself all the time. There should be, with parents being closer to their children, there should be a solid relationship in the home. And like we said, communication is the most important thing. When you keep talking, you become very close. When you're talking to yourself, when you keep talking, and like you said, parents, we need to learn how to listen. As mothers, we need to learn that. We need to learn that. Like what she said, I do that, and before the child, so I know what you're talking about, and that is not. So we need to listen. The relationship should be very solid. There should be trust. There should be love. You know, when all those things are there, no matter how, every mother wants to be close to their children, even though the child is bad, the child is committing a lot of, atrocity. The child is not doing well. The mother still wants to be close. You want to ask the child what is inside you. You want to know everything. We can't know all, but when you're very close to one another, when you keep talking, we get to know one another, because relationship is the key thing that I'm going to say in this.
What? Sorry. Yeah. But then what do you do when your child has broken your trust over and over again? How do you go about that? Because I don't know if it's easy to just rebuild a relationship that has been broken many times with the child not being trustworthy in that sense. So what do you do when a child has broken your trust over and over?
I know it's not easy, but it's a child. I tell you, as mothers, no matter how the child, we say it out, but within us, that's not what we have. We say it all the time, I don't trust you again, you've broken the relationship. But I tell you, mothers love their children. No matter how, I'm passing that message across now to the young ones. You can see us saying it all the time. I say it all the time to my kids as well. We can keep saying you've broken the relationship, we're no more clear, I can't trust you anymore. We still trust them. And I want the child as well, prove yourself to your parents that I can be trusted. Prove yourself to your parents that can be trusted. That is what you need to do. You know what you can do to prove to them that, oh, mommy and daddy, you can trust me back. I can be trusted. I can bring back the love. I can bring back the relationship. So no matter how we keep saying it, we still love them deep inside our heart.
Yeah, that's very true. So all in all, you just need to know that your parents love you no matter what they do. And it may come across that them being mad at you, not wanting the best for you, but they always do love you. And that's the thing I think all children need to know. And Precious, back to you. I hope you're ready this time. So what do you think brings children closer to their parents?
When your parents speak to you out of love and out of anger. Some children respond well to yelling because they don't hear it the first time. But people like me, I don't respond well to yelling. I don't respond well to yelling. So if you're constantly yelling at my face, it's just not gonna make me want to be farther from you instead of being closer to you. So like you said, I think communication is the best way to go.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about with the not responding well to yelling. I know my mom's always telling one of my brothers that my brother's always asking my mom, why are you always yelling at me? My mom's like, because you never hear it the first time. So I think that we need to be able to listen to our parents. We need to always, communication is really key, and that's something that's actually come to light because of both of you. So thank you very much. You always need to be able to communicate with each other, listen to each other, understand each other. And when you have, I think, those three things, you have a really strong relationship, and it's a really good foundation for people say a happy family. So I think you guys are both right in this sense. And I want to say thank you so much for both of you coming on my show. It's been such an amazing time. All in all, it's been such an amazing week, and I just had so much fun with you guys, and it's given me such a greater understanding of what mothers need from their children and what children need from their parents. And one thing I wrote in my book, which I shared, is that what goes around comes around. If you want trust, you give trust. If you want something from your parents, you also have to show them that you can do that as well for them. So I think all in all, it's a give and take relationship. So I think that's really, really amazing. And I want to say again, thank you so much, Matt, for supporting me in all I do. Thank you so much. You've been so amazing, and I'm so grateful. And yeah, and Precious, thank you so much for also coming on my show, and thank you for being an amazing cousin in that sense most of the time. And I want to thank you both so much. And I want to say to all my viewers, thank you so much for watching, and share this around so a lot of people can come to a greater understanding of how to get closer to their parents, how to get closer to their children. I think it will help everybody out there. And remember to subscribe to my channel to see all of these amazing videos. And remember that next week I'll be taking a break, but the week after that will be amazing Jessy fun week. So that's going to be very fun, hopefully, for everybody out there. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you both very much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.